Silence fills the lab, but my ears are still ringing. Sophie kneels down onto the floor beside Gerald Vermeer and eases the old vampire's head into her lap. His face is a nasty color, somewhere between purple and gray, both hands pressed over a wound about an inch below his heart. He's gasping for breath. In my head, I know this is merely habit. He has no need of oxygen, and it's not the chest wound that will kill him. Alice shot him with my gun, and the first round loaded was silver. I've seen a vampire die from silver poisoning, a long and painful death. Never thought I'd feel guilt over a dead vampire. I have a soul, Jerry mutters so quietly I can barely hear him. I can help you, Sophie says. We can send your soul across. Please. Years of pain are in the one word. Sophie looks like a frail, exhausted child at the moment. What happens if she pushes too hard, travels too far? She should rest now, recharge her psychic batteries, but the look on her face tells me she won't until her work is done. What do you need? I lower myself to the ground. Despite taking care and going slow, my legs collapse beneath me. Jake makes an odd noise in his throat and heads in my direction, but I don't want help. Not now. I've had my fill of feeling weak and helpless. My limbs work after a fashion, and I drag myself over to Sophie and the vampire. Her glowing eyes meet mine. The essence of what she is burning bright inside the slender human shell. I'm going to call his soul. When I say, you're going to stake him. I stare at her in disbelief. He's an ally now, not an enemy. He's both, Sophie says. Don't you see? And suddenly I do see. They haven't turned him. They've divided him. Part vampire, part human. And if the human part dies first, then nothing will be left but the vampire. Not only will his soul be lost forever, he will become a real danger to a group of wounded and exhausted humans. What we do is risky. Timing will be everything. I tense as Matt comes up behind me. Here. He presents my knife to me, handle first. You'll need this. Our eyes lock, me trying to figure out what game he's playing. Sophie's voice, sharp with urgency, pulls me back to Vermeer. Hurry, Marine, we don't have time. Bearing the old man's chest, I count the ribs and rest the tip of the blade in the fourth intercostal space, right above his heart. Stay with me, Jerry. Lucille is waiting for you. Sophie's voice is soft, but the words are a command. Jerry smiles. The black in his eyes recedes, leaving only blue. Come to me, she says. He sighs. His eyelids close as if he's drifting into sleep. Sophie looks up at me and nods. Now. The blade is sharp and it doesn't take much to pierce the skin. A little more to press through flesh. I'm quick, but his lids snap open before I can drive the blade home. Nothing human in his face now. His body ripples, changes. Gnarled hands grip mine with superhuman strength. I lean all my weight into the thrust and the knife slides in up to the hilt. His hands tighten on my wrists, so hard I gasp with pain before he goes limp. I rock back away from him, breathing hard. In death, his body looked small, old, and frail. Peace, Sophie says, passing a hand over his face to close his eyes. But there is no peace. Not yet. Give me your gun, I say to Jake. His eyebrows go up in a question mark, but he hands it over. Trust. It's a strange sort of thing and warms my heart. But this is no time to go soft. If I had the option, I'd prefer to be on my feet and not doing this from beside the dead man, but I know I'm not going to be able to get up. Thank God my hands aren't shaking. Yet. I aim directly at Matt. He's still holding my revolver, but I counted the shots and I know it's empty. Time to declare yourself. Who are you really, and who are you working for? Sophie looks from Matt to me, her eyes all questions, but she holds her tongue. How did you know? He says. I don't answer, and after a moment he sighs and answers. My name is Matthew John Pennington. He waits quietly, a trained response that confirms all of my suspicions. I adjust my aim. My right hand is slippery with blood, which is still gushing faster than it ought to from the gash in my arm. My body has broken out in a cold sweat. I don't like the way the bees are still buzzing in my head. Step it up, Matt. No time.